In 2022, Baz Luhrmann and Austin Butler brought Elvis back to life with the pomp and circumstance, charisma, and exuberance of the rock star. But Sofia Coppola's mission statement is to show who the man was behind closed doors alongside his wife. Welcome back to the Venice Film Festival 2023 coverage, my friends. My name is Ren, and this is my review of Priscilla. Hello, Film Festival fans. Thank you for returning to my delayed but continuous coverage of the 2023 Venice Film Festival to discuss one of its most interesting titles. When teenage Priscilla Beaulieu meets Elvis Presley at a party, the man who is already a meteoric rock and roll superstar becomes someone entirely unexpected in private moments. A thrilling crush, an ally in loneliness, and a vulnerable best friend. Now, I would be lying if I told you I walked into Priscilla excited for the film, but even with my own personal feelings prior or post watching this film aside, Priscilla finds itself in an interesting but ultimately unfair situation where it's coming out so close after the release of Elvis, which genuinely rocked the world, rocked critics, rocked the Academy, rocked the world of filmmaking, really. So this is a film that's going to easily fall into the trappings of comparison. And a lot of it is going to lose the actual criticism towards this film, positive or negative, where I've already seen tons of headlines immediately dive into the comparison between Elvis and Priscilla. So even though admittedly I am not the biggest fan of Priscilla, I hope we can collectively move past the easy comparisons from movie to movie and genuinely look at Priscilla for what it is in both its praises and its faults, because Sofia Coppola offers a sensitive approach in telling Priscilla's story, but it's one where she is largely passive, in a narrative mostly unrewarding as a character study, where many of its key emotionally dramatic beats are left wanting in depth and circumstance. It is very much the point of the story to illustrate how Priscilla feels trapped and powerless in her dynamic, not only with Elvis, but in how she had to live in his mansion, surrounded and constantly overwhelmed by every other facet of his life. Even at times not feeling herself a priority when compared to his goals, his fame, and his career. Where even in intimate moments where only the two of them exist, the conversations are never about them, about her, and she feels powerless to dress the way she wants to dress, to work where she wants to work. And she is essentially a prisoner of her own fame, of her own relationship, where Elvis can provide for her, so she doesn't really need anything, and her autonomy is slowly stripped away. And in concept, that works very well. In fact, it allows Cailee Spaeny to display a lot of emotional range, and she is wonderful in this film. She immediately endears you to her in the early sequences of this film, where she is just as trapped in a base in Germany as her father works for the army, and that's where she meets Elvis, and she needs her parents' permission to go to parties, to go meet people, to do anything besides going to school and going home. But Coppola commits to this imprisonment so much to the point where the story and Priscilla, as our protagonist, become uninterestingly passive, where the admittedly wonderful Cailee Spaeny just reacts to the events happening around her, but rarely is able to take any action to influence how the story unfolds, and barely has anything happening to her. Again, this is very much the point of the story, and I can very much see how it works in the context of an autobiography in a book. But as a film, it just completely disengages you seeing such an inactive character in her own story, which is a shame because the ideas are there. Coppola's intentions in wanting to show how Priscilla navigates the stages of womanhood in her unusual settings are compelling in theory. But Priscilla's evolution and autonomy in leaving Elvis and exploring the world to find her own point of view in her life only really display themselves in the final 10 minutes. And they are very promising 10 minutes, but they are the final 10 minutes of the film. So it doesn't allow this character to have a lot of nuance and a lot of development that feels rewarding, that feels earned through this narrative. It also doesn't really depict their relationship with nuance, because while Kaylee Spaney's anguish and pain through the years is well illustrated, all their great scenes start off promising but veer into montagey segments to move from one section of the story to the next. Jacob Elordi, I find him to play the controlling, toxic boyfriend very well, but I don't believe in him as Elvis. This feels like an impersonation and not really a performance. I don't think this is a script that allows him to flesh out this character, but very much there's one scene where Elvis discusses what he wants to be. He wants to be like James Dean. He wants to be a pure artist. He loves music, but he genuinely has a love for acting, but we just don't see that. We're told that's what he wants. And it's a shame, because all these moments and the performances by Spaney and Elordi do just enough to illustrate the fantastic ideas present. Fantastic ideas that just don't shine through in the execution. So, as I dive into my final thoughts on Priscilla, it's time for you to start the conversation in the comments below. What's a real-life couple you want to see 2 movies about coming back to back? Anything and everything down there. And if you're enjoying this review, there's more of my Venice Film Festival 2023 coverage right up here. Or if you just want to talk more movies and TV, this is the place to be. Consider clicking that subscribe button, and you will not miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. Priscilla is a delicate portrait of femininity that offers the wonderfully endearing Kaylee Spaney little to do beyond reacting. The muddled narrative reflects Priscilla's powerlessness in her imprisoning relationship with Elvis, but ultimately struggles to compel or engage. I'm giving Priscilla a C. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to start the conversation in the comments below, and I'll be back very soon with more Venice Film Festival 2023 reviews. Big shout out to my channel members for always supporting the channel, and until the next one, love each other and love the movies.